Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
So I wanted to invite you in, have this platform, and just explain who you are and what are you doing, what it's all about, because we talk to schools all the time. We talk to from homeschool to the private schools to people who go to public schools, but I haven't met you yet. So can you introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing and what it's all about, please?
Sure. So my name is Jocelyn Mann. I'm originally from Canada. And in 2013, I made my way to Nosara, where I was working for a couple of years at a school. And then I went back to Canada for a year or so, did some private work with a few families, which led into the launch of my own business, Soul Academics. And that's kind of where it all began. So Soul Academics is a small platform of five teachers. We're all accredited, and what we do is we individualize programs for children based on their needs and abilities, whether they're ahead or behind, or there's areas where they're struggling in, or if they are homeschooled, then we also can cater to their program and help get them through their program as needed. So it's a lot of different moving parts, but we definitely, the main focus is to get kids to love learning and to maximize their learning in whatever capacity that they are learning, whether it's at school or at home or a mixture of both or working on specific skills.
Give us like a range of scenarios so people can learn more and hear what you guys are comfortable with and what you're doing.
Yeah, so we teach kids all the way from kindergarten to grade 12. We have a specialized high school math teacher. We have a specialized elementary school math teacher, which is kindergarten to grade 8, and high school is grade 9 to 12. Then we have myself, which focuses on English, and another English teacher. And then we have another teacher who does English and math assessments for kindergarten to grade 8. So that's kind of our team. And the reason why we kind of have more of a focus on English and English and math is because those two subjects build on one another from year to year. So if, for example, a student in grade 5 doesn't get grade 5 multiplication, grade 6 multiplication is going to be that much more difficult because they never got the grade 5 stuff. So we do teach all subjects, science and English, or that students need more support in English and math.
I remember somewhere around fractions and then pre-algebra and algebra, I just kind of tuned out because I didn't want to do it. And I was used to being able to just be able to catch up later.
Yeah.
I remember that causing me a great deal of stress later because I didn't do a good job of really layering it. I just tried to get away with it like I did with other subjects. So as you were saying that it layers, I was thinking just how true that really is. Like, if I could go back in time with education, especially with math, I would have paid very close attention to get through those steps, because what ended up happening was I grew up thinking I disliked math. I didn't really care about calculus or trigonometry or geometry or these things. But after I got older, I really enjoy finance and learning like how the real world works with math and lending. And
yes,
I guess I handled that one wrong. So when you said it layers, that's true. So do you deal with people who are already in school or enrolled in school, either physically or homeschool, and you just add on top of that? Or do you have where somebody might be from Canada, Europe, or the States or wherever, and they can go through a whole curriculum?
Both. We do both. They can either kind of join with us. We're not accredited, but they can do like a math program or a language program with us, and we build it. We oftentimes will do, if that's the case, we oftentimes will do an assessment first to see exactly kind of where the gaps are, so we can build the program accordingly so that we're meeting all the students' needs. Because one of our biggest parts of our philosophy is that we want to help children achieve success regardless of their abilities. So in order to do that successfully, doing an assessment to figure out where those gaps may be, and then building a program around those, filling those gaps, and then going beyond those gaps is what we try to do. So to answer your question, we do both. We can develop a program and a curriculum on our own, or we can supplement whatever kind of schooling they are doing already.
I got it. So you just adjust from whatever, from a one tutoring type session of a subject in particular, all the way to running the entire education program.
Correct. Yeah, and sometimes we do, most times if not, it's individualized. That's another part of our philosophy, is that students, when they're working with us one-on-one, we achieve so much in the time we have together due to the limitless distractions and so on. However, once we do some small group stuff when we can fit some kids together, but oftentimes than not, there's gaps certain places and other kids have different gaps, and it ends up being more individualized than small group. But that doesn't mean that we don't do small group. We do when we can.
I get you. So, but it's not a situation where people are going to a building to sit in a classroom per se. It's customized per child. And I'm guessing, is this in person, or is this mainly via computer or Zoom or Google Meet or something like that?
Yeah, it's usually via Zoom or Microsoft Teams, one of the two. That it's typical, but when I'm in and around Nosara, I'm happy to meet students in person as well.
I got you. Where are most of the students from?
We're pretty spread out at the moment. We do have students, as I mentioned, in Canada, US. I would say majority in Canada and US, but we do have some, like I mentioned, in New Zealand and Israel, Germany, Paris. So a few others spread out, but I'd say most of them are from North America.
Okay, I gotcha. So a smattering of Europe, but mainly US, Canadian type folks. Do you meet them here in Nosara, or is it just spread throughout, and it's the business is its own thing in other countries as well?
I've met a lot of connections in Nosara, given that Nosara is a tourist place. I've met some really, really cool people in Nosara that have led to other opportunities, which has kind of helped spread us out worldwide slowly. But I think that's kind of where the roots started, and it kind of just spread from there through word of mouth.
That's pretty cool. Well, hey, congratulations on it taking roots and your success. That's really cool. This is a nice story. What do you want people to know who are listening to this and trying to get affiliated? Like, what information do you want to share while you have this platform?
I think it's just really important for parents to recognize and know that all their children all have the capacity to learn, no matter their abilities, and sometimes they're just not given the right support in a school setting based on their learning needs. And it's okay to reach out for extra support and help, and that's what me and there's probably millions of other teachers in the world do. And so just to know that it's okay to reach out and get additional support, and in the end it's the future that we're building. So an investment into the future, I think, is always a good one.
Is there any example starter type programs that you normally recommend? Like, is there a typical, it's like, hey, let's start with this?
I would say typically, at least for kindergarten to grade 8 students, because it's kind of a full subject range up to that point where parents are wanting, typically it's best to start with an assessment to see really what's going on. And then oftentimes, if there is additional supports that have already been put in place while they're attending school, parents will share those with us to add, to our assessment, so we know a full picture of the student and what's going on. So typically, when we start with a new student, if they're, kindergarten to grade 8, we suggest starting with an assessment just to see where exactly they're at. However, that being said, oftentimes if a student, let's say, is going into grade 9 or 10, but parents know, or the school has told them that they're working below grade level, we'll still do an assessment at that point just to see exactly where they're at and where the gaps are. So it's not really necessarily specific to grade, it's more about skill level, to see what skills they know and what skills they struggle with. And then from there, we build upon the custom program of like, okay, does this look like where he's working independently with parents, or does this look like where we're developing a program and shipping it out to a client? Parents work on it solely with themselves and are administering it, or is us developing a program, developing lessons, working one-on-one with the students, but also parents are involved. And that's another really big piece, is that parents have to be on board, because working with students or any skill, even as adults, we're not just going to learn a skill in an hour. You got to practice it to know it and to do it, and therefore apply it. And so we do require our parents to be 100% on board and be willing to work with us in a really intimate capacity, because that's, again, if we want kids to succeed and get stronger at skills, we just need all the parties involved. So again, it's very customized. We're working really close with both the students and the parents, and we have a really great relationship with everyone on board. You can find us at solacademics.com. There's a contact form in the navigation area that you can fill out and tell us what you're looking for, whether it's one-on-one individualized programming or small group, or whether it's a workshop, or you can always contact me on WhatsApp, and the number is on the website itself, and then also on Instagram.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate you having me here.
I now know what you do. I'll see you in the water soon enough.
Sounds good, Rich. Talk soon.